Hey guys, welcome back to the show, and on this episode I'm going to be talking about a made-for-TV movie that was suggested to me by one of my Patreon members, and I had never heard of this movie before. The movie is Devil Dog, The Hound of Hell, from 1978. Now, a few years ago, I did a video on the movie Dracula's Dog, which coincidentally came out the same year, 1978, but do not confuse these two movies. They're totally different situations. That movie was a movie about Dracula's dog, and this is a movie about a dog from hell. Of hell, whatever. Now, you might assume that since it's a made-for-TV movie, that Devil Dog would be the worst of the two, but I think it's way better than Dracula's Dog. I was actually pretty impressed by it. I think it was really well made, and I was not expecting to enjoy it as much as I did. Since this was a made-for-TV movie, I couldn't find a movie poster to promote its release when it came out, but I did find this print ad, as well as some posters that were made afterwards for its video release. This was the DVD cover, which I find to be kind of underwhelming. And some of these video sleeves are really weird. This one is probably the most accurate in terms of what you actually see in the movie. Anyways, the movie starts with some people in a black station wagon going to a dog breeder, looking to buy a dog who's ready to breed. So they buy this dog for $5,000, and holy crap, they're gonna use the dog in some kind of satanic ritual. And I have to say, I know I've probably said something like this before because I've covered movies with satanic rituals in them before, but is it really that hard to do these things in a place that's clean and not a giant accident waiting to happen? I mean, I get it. It's part of the whole aesthetic, you know, it's rustic and dark and spooky, but at the very least, can't you sweep up the floor a bit? And that's not me being picky, that's just me trying to be safe. I mean, you're doing this in a barn. The whole thing is made of wood. There's dry grass and hay all over the floor, and you've got candles everywhere. This place would go up in seconds. See, this is the main reason why I would never join in on one of these rituals, because the way they go about it always seems to be kind of irresponsible. Also, those robes, I'm just gonna say I've seen a lot better. You know, look how thin the material is. Like, come on. You're a group. Pool your money together, buy some quality material. Show some dedication to this thing. Anyways, now we have Mike and Betty Barry coming home to find their dog lying dead in the middle of the road. The neighbor, George, is like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. This black station wagon was parked around the corner, and as soon as it saw your dog on the street, it started up and ran him over. Obviously, this is very upsetting for the whole family, especially for their son Charlie and their daughter Bonnie. And it turns out it's Bonnie's birthday, but she's not in the mood to have a party anymore.
Bonnie decided she didn't want the party after all. I've called all the parents.
You know, Bonnie, I think you're being pretty selfish canceling that party of yours. I mean, death is a part of life, and there's no better time to learn that than on your 10th birthday. Because the reality is, you probably have around, what, 80 or so birthdays before it's all over? And yeah, look, you've already burned through 10, so this should make you appreciate it more. It's a good wake-up call. But no, you had to tell all your little friends not to bother coming after their parents spent all that time buying you presents. And what about your parents, Bonnie? You know, they bought all that food for the party. What are they going to do with it now? You know, they can't just give it to the dog. Because as we all know, dead dogs don't eat. Anyways, Bonnie is like, screw this, I'm going for a bike ride. Maybe a car will hit me too. I'm fed up with this world. But then suddenly, this guy pulls up with a truck full of fruit. And he's like, hey kids, do you want to buy some fresh fruit? Hey, also, I've got some puppies in the truck as well. Do you want one of those? And look, you're going to see some stuff throughout this movie that's going to make it very clear that these people are pretty wealthy. You know, they have a big house, a housekeeper, and this. They live in a neighborhood where a guy drives right up to your front door selling fresh fruit and giving away free puppies. The wealth disparity in this world is out of control. You know, I was always told growing up, if you work really hard, eventually it will pay off. Well, I don't have a fruit and puppy guy in my neighborhood, so Like, what are we doing here? So Charlie is like, hey, maybe we should ask mom and dad first. But Bonnie is like, it's my birthday. We're taking the dog. So they name him Lucky and run inside, and the man takes off because he was never interested in selling fruit in the first place. Clearly, he's one of the cult members. He's evil. I mean, it's just like Adam and Eve. Look, the analogy is right there. Didn't the devil disguise himself as a snake and then drove around trying to sell fruit to people? I don't know, I'm not that familiar with the story. Anyways, George comes over with his dog, Prince, to bring a gift for Bonnie and kind of rub it in her face that his dog is still alive. It's kind of a dick move, George. But Lucky freaks out Prince, and this causes a huge mess, ruining the cake.
Oh, that's okay. It's the best birthday I've ever had.
Wait, this is the best birthday you've ever had? Your dog got run down in the street like 2 hours ago. So the next day, Maria, the housekeeper, comes over because even though it's her day off, she wanted to work for free and take Bonnie to the park. But then she sees Lucky and she's like, holy shit, that dog is f***ing evil. Probably. But then the next night she sees Lucky again and she's like, yep, I knew it. That dog is too cute not to be from hell. Hey, Mike, we're all screwed. If you don't get rid of that dog, it's gonna kill us all. And Mike is like, Maria, have you seen that dog's paws? It's going to be a great guard dog one day. I can't pass that up. So the family goes out and Maria lights some candles and says a prayer. But suddenly the candle catches her rope and she goes up in flames. And I know some of you are going to be quick to blame the dog for that, but hey, the dog didn't make Maria light those candles. And yes, the dog did close the door, preventing Maria from, finding water and putting it out. But hey, again, it's not the dog's fault that Maria didn't stop, drop, and roll. That's what we're all told when we're really young. If you're ever on fire, stop, drop, and roll. I don't think enough people remember that. I see a lot of videos online where people are on fire, and I'm just watching it like, you're not stopping, you're not dropping, and you're not rolling. So maybe if she did, she'd still be alive, and the family wouldn't have had to come home to a toasted housekeeper. Anyways, now it's a year later, and hang on a sec. You mean to tell me these people are still living in the same house? I don't know. If your housekeeper burns alive in your house, I think you gotta move. Because you're just not gonna get that smell out. And by the looks of it, that house was very thoroughly carpeted, with like a thick shag, which was popular in the 70s. So I got to imagine that smell is just going to linger, trapped in the fibers forever. It's like, ugh. Anyways, Mike is outside trying to fix the lawnmower, and the dog doesn't want Mike to pet him. So Mike's like, Lucky's been acting very weird around me for months. Maybe there is something wrong with that dog. And aren't we jumping to conclusions, Mike? I mean, seriously, ever since you got that dog, the worst thing that's happened is that incident with Maria burning alive. So, look, it's only killed one person, and that was a whole year ago. That's like ancient history. I think if there was something seriously wrong with that dog, that number would be a lot higher by now. So suddenly, the lawnmower starts up, and Lucky starts using his demonic powers to pull Mike's hand into the blade. And after a while of back and forth, Mike is able to resist Lucky's powers, and he's like, holy crap, what the hell is going on here? I should be hiring somebody to do this work. I mean, what the hell am I even doing out here? Now, I know that if some of you were in this situation, you'd be thinking, what the hell is wrong with that dog? And it's not that you'd be wrong, it's just that the dog did fix the mower, so it's kind of a fair trade. I know it would suck to have an evil pet, but if the evil pet also did really awesome stuff every now and then, as long as you're dodging the evil stuff, that's not that bad. So the kids start doing weird stuff, like lighting candles and going up into the attic in the middle of the night. And the next day, Mike says when he gets back from work, he's gonna take the whole family out for Chinese food. And god damn it, must be nice being rich. Living in a big house and going out for dinner all the time. I bet the only thing that's ever been cooked in that house is Maria. Do you want to know what I eat? Most nights, my dinner consists of sad sandwiches made from whatever I could find left in the fridge and bread heels. Betty goes into Charlie's room and starts looking at his sketchbook like, oh my god, this is just awful. Why doesn't he just give up? And then a jar of red liquid spills onto the floor.
What are you doing sneaking around in here?
Leave my things alone. Get out of my room and forget all about this.
Now, I know you're thinking, wow, these kids are a couple of little dicks. Well, look, it's really your own fault. You go snooping around the room of a curious young man, you're gonna find some stuff that might be cause for concern. Dirty magazines, weed, jars of blood, which will inevitably lead to questions like, where is he getting this stuff, and how good is it? Is it just stems and seeds, maybe a little bit of shake, or is it actually good quality bud? Anyways, Mike says he's gonna be working late, and the kids take off, so it's just Betty alone with the dog. And suddenly, there's all this smoke coming from the kitchen. See, I guess this is what happens when rich people actually try to cook. So she runs upstairs and Lucky follows her. A bit of a mistake here with the crew member being visible, but I think it's easy to look past because the whole movie does such a great job setting the atmosphere. I mean, I think the whole movie is pretty well done overall, but this scene between Betty and the dog in particular, I found to be really effective. It's really simple, but it's super creepy. Okay, so at this point, Lucky has basically, I don't know, somehow possessed the souls of everybody in the family, except Mike, of course, and they all start acting really creepy and strange, and they all do a really good job. I think the performances in this movie were great. The cast really nails this expression of being friendly yet chilling at the same time. I think they also picked a great dog for this. I mean, it doesn't look like a vicious, evil dog, and that's the point. It just has this presence that can be very foreboding, and this is, of course, due in part to the way in which they shot it. Anyways, a bunch of bad stuff keeps happening, people die, and Mike starts realizing, hey, my family has kind of turned into a bunch of jerks, and then one night he hears something going on in the attic, so he goes up there and finds all these candles and this weird picture, and he's like, what the hell is wrong with all of you? You got wax all over the floor. Now I'm gonna have to hire someone to clean this up. So he does exactly what you'd expect. He goes to see a doctor because maybe he's going crazy. Maybe the fact that his family is acting totally strange and lighting candles on the ground and worshipping some kind of three-eyed demon is all in his crazy head.
Some evil power has moved into my house. Look, I know this all sounds crazy, but it's all true.
You know, 2 weeks in Hawaii alone with Betty would do you both a world of good.
You know, it's not often that I write prescriptions for vacations, Mike. But check this out. You're going to go to Hawaii, and before you get back, I'm going to need you to pick something up for me, all right? It's not a big deal. All right, I'm going to give you all the details, okay?
You haven't believed a word I said.
What? No, of course I have. Your family sucks and your dog kills people. That's why you're going on this vacation. Okay, now, listen carefully. You're going to meet up with a man named Oscar. He basically lives at the motel that's right next to the airport. So you're going to go to room number 6. And then you're going to hand him this prescription. And then he's going to hand you a bag. All you need to do is then bring that bag directly to me when you come home. It should actually be the first thing you do when you get home. Don't look in the bag. That's none of your concern. It's just a bunch of boring doctor stuff anyways. But if you get stopped by the cops, you're gonna have to convince them that you're a doctor. It shouldn't be too hard, all right? Trust me. I've been doing it for, 17 years now? Yeah. See that degree behind me? It's fake. They don't check. Nobody checks. Have you actually read it? I don't even know what it says on there. Anyways, he goes to some lady who, I don't know, runs a shop with old books or something, and he tells her all about it. And he's like, I've tried everything. I even shot the dog. That didn't work. And she's like, yeah, sounds like a barghest to me. A barghest is a demon who takes the form of a dog. Look, this old book has a picture of the same kind of demon painted on the side of a cliff in Ecuador. So maybe start there. So Mike goes there and finds the painting. So he sits there and stares at it all afternoon, apparently. I guess he didn't really think about what he was going to do once he found it. It turns out that his taxi driver's great-grandfather can help him, but it's going to take a few days to drive there, and the meter is going to have to be running the whole time. Anyways, eventually the old man shows up, and he's like, okay, check this out. I'm going to give you a tattoo on your hand, just like mine. You got to show it to the demon, and the demon will go back to hell. Trust me, bro, I've done this like 100 times. Well, not 100, maybe like once, or maybe I just heard this is what you do. I'm not really sure, just let's do it. And look, some people might be skeptical, but you came all this way, you don't want to leave empty-handed. At the very least, it'll be a great story for parties. Like, yeah, I went to Ecuador and I met this old dude who may have been completely out of his mind, and he gave me this tattoo to fight demons. Probably could have gotten infected because I don't think the tools he was using were very clean, but it was free. So Mike comes back and goes to this plant where he works, and this is where Lucky reveals his true demonic form, and Mike shows him the tattoo. And after a while, it works. So there you go, Mike. Maybe next time, don't let your kids bring home a strange dog. Go get a fish or some shit. But then at the end of the movie, Charlie is like, hey Dad, that guy who gave us Lucky said that he had 10 dogs. So what about the other 9? And if it was me, I'd be like, I don't know and I don't care. Give me a goddamn break. It was hard enough getting rid of one of those things. I'm not gonna do that again 9 more times. I've got to go into work in the morning. I've taken enough time off as it is. In fact, I didn't even tell anybody that I was taking time off. I just stopped showing up. So I guess we'll see if I even still have a job in the morning. That'll be the next adventure for this family, because if I'm unemployed, we're gonna have to start cutting back on some of the luxuries we've been enjoying. Maybe it's a good thing the housekeeper got fired. Now, it was interesting watching this movie because I knew I had seen these kids before. Charlie and Bonnie were played by Ike Eisenman and Kim Richards, who also played siblings in the movies Escape to Witch Mountain and Return from Witch Mountain. And I remember seeing Escape to Witch Mountain when I was a kid. I don't really remember the story that much. I just remember that I really liked it. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I was pretty surprised by this movie. For a made-for-TV movie, I thought it was pretty good, and I think it moved along really well. I found that I never got bored watching this movie, and when it comes to watching movies for this show, with a lot of them, they end up being hard to sit through at some point, or they have, a boring scene here or there. But that didn't really happen when I was watching this movie. So if you think you'd be interested, you can watch this whole movie on YouTube. I will post the link in the description. I want to thank all of my supporters on Buy Me a Coffee, Patreon, and my YouTube channel members. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. But that's pretty much it for this one, and I'll see you all next time. Oh, and one more thing. If you go to the motel and Oscar isn't there, you need to find a payphone immediately and call me and tell me. Because if he's not there, that means that, yeah, I should probably get my passport ready just in case. You're gonna love Hawaii. You're gonna have a great time. And you know what? I feel Mike's frustration here, because when I was growing up, I had a dog, and do you know what that dog's name was? Lucky. I'm serious. I'm not making this up for the show. That dog, he peed on my Xbox. I'm serious. He didn't pee on anybody else's stuff, just mine. He hated me. It sucked. And everybody else in the family got along fine with the dog, but me. It felt like I was crazy, because I'm just like, what's the deal? What's wrong with me? If you were me or Mike, you would feel the same way. It's not fun being singled out by the family pet. He peed on my Xbox. He knew it was something I enjoyed and I spent a lot of time with, and he wanted to, ruin it or mark his territory on it. Like, oh God. It still worked. It's just, it's the disrespect.